War is loud. It fills screens with explosions, speeches, flags, and fear. But the money made from war is quiet. It moves through contracts, balance sheets, and long-term agreements. While soldiers fight in public, profit moves in private. And this pattern has repeated itself in every major American war. This is not about secret meetings or hidden rulers. It is about incentives. Systems reward certain behaviors during war just as they do during peace. When incentives repeat, outcomes repeat. That is why the same types of winners appear again and again, no matter the war, the president, or the enemy. Wars begin with urgency. Governments need weapons, fuel, food, transportation, and logistics immediately. Speed matters more than price. Reliability matters more than competition. When survival is the priority, efficiency replaces negotiation. This is where the pattern begins. In wartime, governments do not shop like consumers. They do not look for the cheapest option. They look for the fastest solution that can scale. This naturally favors large established producers who already have infrastructure, relationships, and capital. Small players cannot ramp up overnight. New companies cannot pass security checks quickly. Experiments are risky. So contracts flow to those already positioned. This is not corruption. It is urgency. Once contracts begin flowing, something else happens. Scale increases profits faster than effort. A factory that doubles output does not double costs. A logistics network that expands becomes more efficient, not less. This creates compounding advantage. Those who are already large become larger. War accelerates concentration. During World War I, industries tied to steel, chemicals, railroads, and manufacturing expanded rapidly. During World War II, the pattern repeated with aviation, shipbuilding, energy, and advanced manufacturing. During the Cold War, defense, technology, and intelligence-related industries grew. After 9/11, security, data, logistics, and surveillance expanded. Different wars. Same structure. The public sees war as chaos. But for suppliers, war creates predictable demand. Governments do not cancel contracts during war. They expand them. Budgets increase. Oversight loosens. Timelines shorten. Risk shifts from the producer to the taxpayer. This is the core mechanic. When risk is removed, profits stabilize. When profits stabilize, capital concentrates. When capital concentrates, ownership narrows. Over generations, this creates dynasties. Not because families control wars, but because ownership compounds. If a family owns a large share of a company that supplies essential wartime goods, and that company survives multiple wars, wealth grows quietly over decades. No single war creates fortunes. Repetition does. This is why the same types of owners appear across different eras. They are not predicting wars. They are positioned for them. The key idea is this: war rewards readiness, those who build capacity. Before crisis benefit when crisis arrives. This applies to nations. It also applies to businesses. War does not invent new winners. It amplifies existing ones. Once war spending begins, a second effect appears. Long-term contracts. Governments prefer stability. They do not want to renegotiate during conflict. They sign multi-year agreements. This locks in revenue. Companies that survive one war gain experience, certifications, and trust. This makes them first in line for the next conflict. Experience becomes a moat. Over time, this creates an elite group of suppliers who understand government systems deeply. They know how procurement works. They know compliance. They know scale. New competitors struggle to enter. This is how systems form without intention. No one plans for 5 families or groups to dominate. The structure creates it. War also reshapes innovation. Technologies developed for military use often spread into civilian life. Transportation, communication, computing, energy. Those who own the production and patents benefit long after the war ends. The war ends. The contracts slow. But the infrastructure remains. This is why war profits do not vanish with peace. They transform. Another pattern appears during war. Debt expansion. Wars are expensive. Governments borrow heavily. Borrowing creates interest. Interest creates steady income for those holding government debt. This is not dramatic. It is mechanical. When spending rises, money flows to lenders, insurers, and financial intermediaries. War increases the size of the financial system tied to government obligations. Again, This favors large, established players. Over time, wealth accumulates not through battle, but through bookkeeping. The public often imagines war profiteering as evil behavior, but most profit comes from normal legal activity operating under extreme conditions. That is what makes the pattern uncomfortable. No villain is required, only incentives. People ask why this keeps happening. The answer is simple. War removes normal limits. In peace, budgets are debated. In war, they are approved. In peace, costs are questioned. In war, speed matters more. This temporary suspension of restraint benefits those ready to supply at scale, and because wars happen repeatedly, readiness compounds. This is why the same structures survive from war to war, even as names and technologies change. The families or groups associated with this wealth often diversify. Energy, manufacturing, finance, logistics. They do not bet on one outcome. They build exposure to the system itself. This is important. They are not betting on war. They are betting on governments responding to crisis the same way every time. And history shows they do. The system does not reward moral purity. It rewards preparation. This does not mean war is good. It means war reveals how systems actually work. Those who understand systems stop being surprised. Another layer of the pattern is political distance. The wealth created by war rarely appears as a direct line from battlefield to bank account. It flows through subsidiaries, funds, suppliers, and contracts. This distance reduces scrutiny. It also reduces accountability. The more complex the system, the harder it is to assign blame. Complexity protects power. This is why the same structures persist even after public outrage. The system is too spread out to dismantle easily. After each war, there are investigations, promises, reforms, regulations. Some changes happen, but the core incentives remain. The next crisis arrives. The cycle resumes. This pattern is not unique to America. It appears wherever large states fight large wars, but America's scale makes the pattern more visible. The important lesson is not anger. It is understanding. Most people focus on events. Intelligent people focus on structure. Events change. Structures endure. If you want to understand who benefits from war, stop looking for secret names. Look at repeatable positions, large-scale producers, logistics networks, energy suppliers, financial intermediaries, technology platforms tied to government demand. These positions survive wars because they are necessary, and necessity removes negotiation. This is why outrage alone changes nothing. The system does not respond to emotion. It responds to incentives. If incentives do not change, outcomes repeat. History shows that after every war, people say, "Never again." Then they rebuild the same structures, not because they want war, but because they want readiness. Readiness is expensive. Someone always gets paid to provide it. The families or groups that survive multiple wars do so because they stay close to necessity, not ideology. They adapt to the system instead of fighting it. This is uncomfortable, but it is real. Understanding this pattern does not mean accepting it. It means seeing clearly. Clear vision is the first step to any meaningful change. Without it, people argue about personalities while structures continue untouched. War profit is not created by evil genius. It is created by predictable responses to crisis, and until those responses change, the pattern will continue. The real question is not who profited in the past. The real question is whether society is willing to redesign systems that reward concentration during emergencies. That is difficult. Systems built for speed and survival naturally concentrate power. Decentralization is slow, and in war, slowness feels dangerous. So the trade-off repeats: safety now, consequences later. Understanding this helps explain why the same outcomes appear generation after generation, not because history is controlled, but because incentives are consistent. Once you see this, war looks different, not heroic, not villainous, mechanical, and mechanical systems, once understood, can be changed, but only by those who are willing to look past noise and into structure. Most people never do. That is why the pattern survives.